Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Starladder EU coverage. We're here with day 6. We've got only 2 games today, but they're good ones. We're going to get things kicked off with Na'Vi versus Team Empire, Merlini.
This was shaping up to be an excellent match. Empire has been on fire as of late.
And they should be able to give Na'Vi a run for their money. Na'Vi are doing very well in this Starladder. I believe they are undefeated. Let's take a look at our grid and see how our standings are. They are indeed Na'Vi 4-0, off to the races for this Starladder. Empire, we've only seen them in 1 game, which they did take a victory. But needless to say, I think they could use another win here.
Relax gave them a good run for their money yesterday. Na'Vi.
But Na'Vi still played well. They pulled out the win in the end, kind of one-upped them a little bit. But it should be a good day. Our second match of the day coming up is the Retry versus Power Rangers. So a slightly lower profile game for Game 2, but still 2 good games coming up today. And I don't think we'll have a long break. But our first game of the day is underway, and, well, this draft is moving slowly. Is it time to hop in, Merlini? Do you have any other words of wisdom, maybe some predictions before we get into this game?
Well, Na'Vi are 60-40 favorites, which is...
That sounds appropriate.
Sounds about reasonable. Na'Vi, they had a pretty good draft yesterday. I'm not sure whether we're going to see like a draft like that yesterday.
First pick tree, that was a little off the cuff.
And Yule's Night Stalker was a little bit unusual too. Not the hero that I imagine like when I think of Denny, but still, they still played it very, very well. And
yeah.
I wonder if they're going to bring that type of game to Empire or just a completely different one. The gyrocopter was also unusual for 6.80.
Havost Rapier for the win. It was interesting. Now, interesting stat before we hop into the draft. Na'Vi are actually 6-1 with Enigma on this patch. So not a hero that they've pulled out too often, but when they have, they've been very successful. So could possibly be a choice to keep an eye out for in this match.
Yeah, Puppy has a ridiculously good Enigma. His early game rotation with any of the junglers is one of the best I've seen in Dota. And it really doesn't matter whether it's Enchantress, whether it's Chen, or whether it's Enigma. It's just, he's usually just at the right place at the right time and controls the game. So I don't really think it matters that it's Enigma as opposed to another jungler.
That's a fair point. Let's go ahead and take a look at our draft here. And oh my gosh, I'm all over the place, Merlini. There we go. This is... Jesus. All right, there we go. God, it is slow going this morning. So we've got Empire versus Na'Vi. We're finally in this lobby. And these bans, well, they're making a good bit of sense. Empire, interesting stat about that Enchantress ban. They never, absolutely never pick Enchantress. That's a word we don't use very often in statistics. Never and always. But they absolutely hate that hero. She has a 43% ban rate, and they have not picked her on this patch, not even once. How about those apples,
Maybe
Merlini?
you just don't have an Enchantress player. I don't know. I mean, you're right. I've never seen them play Enchantress, and I think it would work well under the playstyle. They just absolutely hate that hero. Stay away from it like the plague.
10 seconds
Yeah,
remaining.
that's very true. So here we will see Ember Spirit picked up by Na'Vi alongside their Nyx Assassin. I reckon that'll be a Dendi Ember Spirit running that solo mid. That's where we've seen it most when Na'Vi have picked him up.
Empire has to see that coming, though, because Na'Vi, as well as many other teams, will pick Ember Spirit in the first phase if it is available. So I don't think that this comes to any surprise to Empire, and they will counter with a Doom to round out their second pick. Mag will be the drafter for Team Empire, Puppy for Team Na'Vi. Neither team playing with a stand-in, so no stand-in excuse after this game.
No excuses today. It's all on the line. The best of the best here. Empire have also been doing very well with Dazzle. They're actually 14-1 on this patch in competitive. So another smart ban coming out from Na'Vi here, and well, denying that hero there.
First pick Nyx is unusual too.
Yeah, it's a little bit unusual. He's a good flex pick, though. We've talked about that quite a bit. He can go mid, he can go support, he can go off lane. So that
Funnick has a ridiculously good Nyx too.
Part of his appeal. It's probably safe to assume it'll be a Funnick Nyx, though. I think he's been their most common Nyx player. And Empire starting off with the Ancient Apparition first pick as well. That's one that we talked about a little bit yesterday. The flavor of the month, hot right now, as you mentioned. I don't know. I'll see how.
He's decent. I still don't understand why he's like first pick material.
I'm on the same.
I think he's like second phase pick, like a third or fourth pick for either team.
He's good, but as we've talked about, he needs kind of a niche lineup. He needs something built around him. He's not one of those just insta-pick kind of supports. He's not on like the Nyx Assassin level. He's not that same kind of flex pick, sort of like you're talking about.
And he really needs levels. He's sometimes a decent playmaker by himself, but like someone like Nyx, I think, is a much better first pick, just because like AA, it kind of pigeonholes your supports. He doesn't do anything versus BKB, and versus an elusive hero like Ember Spirit 2, he sometimes has difficulty versus that.
One thing that he does do well is he at least works okay against Slark. I wouldn't call it a hard counter, but he stops that pesky regeneration, so I guess some teams that really don't like playing against Slark, if you grab AA early on, it can kind of deter your opponent from going the way of the Murloc, but
10 seconds
I don't know.
remaining.
That's the best I can reason it as well. Interesting to see Empire banning out the Treant Protector also. We saw Na'Vi first pick Tree yesterday, and it was successful, but I don't know. Was Tree the deciding factor in that game? I feel like they could have gotten away with quite a few supports.
At the same time, Tree was pretty important. Being able to counter-initiate with them is pretty important, because you're not going to be able to focus a Tree down, especially when he had a blink in the fight, and that is just so annoying to deal with. And first off, they have to worry about like a Night Stalker in their face with living armor, and then on top of that, I mean, it just depends on how well the Tree is played. Again, I don't necessarily think it was a Tree in particular. It could have just as well been an Enigma for the anti-BKB AoE with the Black Hole, but it did strengthen up their lanes a little bit.
Yeah.
Navi's turn
So
to
still
ban.
just an interesting ban from Empire. Maybe a little bit of respect coming out. Perhaps they were watching that game yesterday. And, all right, they will do a fourth ban on Luna, making some sense here as well. Both teams taking their time with this draft, though. Being very cautious about each ban and each pick. This is actually a pretty big game. Na'Vi are off to a good start in this round robin, but or Fat Robin, as we've been calling it. But if Empire could take a win here, that would be absolutely huge. I don't know if it'd be fair to call it an upset, but it would be big for Empire.
Yep, so Na'Vi will round things out with a Storm ban as well as a Venom ban. Somewhat uncommon for people to ban out Storm after having Nyx on your team. Nyx usually dissuades that, but at the same time, they need to make sure Ember Spirit does have a relatively easy time. And when Dundee played Ember Spirit, I think last time he didn't even play a solo mid. Like last game in Starladder, I think it was like the solo safe lane.
I'm having trouble remembering.
5 seconds remaining.
I'm pretty sure he was mid.
I'm pretty sure it was okay. Well, maybe he was mid.
Who was up against Timbersaw? Timbersaw was the mid on the other team.
That was Night Stalker. That was yesterday's game.
Yeah, yesterday.
There was a game before. Game? I believe so.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't know. Oh yeah, I guess they did put the Night Stalker. I guess you're right. Actually, they did put Night Stalker mid, didn't they?
Yeah, but he was Night Stalker yesterday. That wasn't the Ember
Spirit.
that
wasn't the Ember Spirit game. Right. I see what I'm
there's
sorry.
that Enigma pick that you were talking about.
Yeah.
And they don't. That's into a Rubik too.
Ooh, that's brave.
No. Wait, it was Enigma and then Rubik.
Yeah.
And now Timber.
Yeah. So makes
it is pretty brave to ban out a Veno or a Rubik when he is specifically planning on picking Enigma.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I was half listening to you earlier. I was investigating this statistic here that Empire's actually won their last 4 games against Na'Vi. That is actually pretty insane. There was that
one day they were 3-0 versus them.
Yeah,
so
that's probably part of that streak.
Do they have Na'Vi's number?
Yeah, they really do. This is an even bigger game than I thought, not in terms of Starladder standings, but more so just these two teams have maybe a little bit of a mild rivalry going on here.
Is 60-40 even right then?
Yeah, I don't know. 60-40 might be a little too generous for Na'Vi. Empire have been looking really strong. Some other staggering statistics here while we're on the subject. Silent, right now on this patch, is averaging the second highest GPM per game at 619. That's his average in competitive. He is second only to that of Arteezy.
Well, Empire keeps winning, so.
Yeah. And one more, Resolution has been averaging kills per game of about 7.5. Which is more than any other Western player in this patch. So there you go. Some numbers to back up Empire's skills. They've got some skills to pay the bills here.
So it looks like this one will be a support Nyx Assassin because they picked Timbersaw afterwards. Or Yeah,
seconds
that's
remaining.
most likely what it seems
Well,
like. But
they could do a Timber mid and do a safe lane
5
Ember Spirit, kind of like you were
Right.
talking about. They still have a lot of flexibility with this draft, which is
Ooh, the
Navi's
Bat
turn
Rider.
to
one
ban.
good thing about
Bat
it.
Rider's scary. Like I
He
used
sure
to
is.
think that hero was just like, you know, whatever. He got nerfed and he's not that great, but he is still pretty darn good.
Well, we saw some big Bat Rider plays yesterday in the finals of the Monster Invitational, so that reaffirmed
10
any missing
seconds
faith I
remaining.
had in Bat Rider's ability to be a playmaker.
He is a huge
5
playmaker.
seconds remaining.
He's ridiculously good in hands of capable players, and both lineups
Reserve time.
are, I don't know, they're well-rounded.
Yeah.
Good
The-
team fight, okay late game.
I like the Timber pick here. It seems pretty solid, even though
10
Empire only have one
seconds
strength
remaining.
hero. It looks like they're probably going to be running kind of a dual core lineup. And if one
5
of them is
seconds
Doom, at least that Whirling Death, man, it is so
Dire
dirty
team
against Doom.
ban.
And it will deter Empire from grabbing another strength core. I imagine they're going to want something more of a classic kind of agility carry here for their final pick. It kind of depends how they want to run that Doom. They still have some options. It's hard to... I mean, are you thinking Bat Rider mid or Bat Rider off lane?
10 seconds.
Both teams actually have a
Mm.
lot of flexibility here.
I think Bat Rider mid
5
probably is
seconds
better.
remaining.
So they could do like a...
It just depends. I don't like their
Reserve
last hero
time.
is so important for Empire. It will
Yeah.
really dictate how they play their
Navi's
game. Like if
turn
they want to
to
go,
pick.
I think Luna would have been pretty good for themselves too. So they're gonna put a lot of early pressure. They need a lot of physical damage too to try and burst out Ember. So I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna go with.
Yeah, I mean, they could do a solo safe lane Doom and then go aggro tri-lane with the AA Rubik and the carry of their choice, or they could do a safe lane tri-lane and grab a more traditional off-laner.
10
Clockwork
seconds
is still
remaining.
available here, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a hero that Empire
5
have
seconds
valued
remaining.
quite a bit. Yes, that he's actually their most drafted hero this patch.
Dire
I
team
think this is going to be a
pick.
Clockwork pick, Marlini.
So looks like Navi will pick a Clinks last, which makes their lanes completely unpredictable.
Yeah.
Well, Enigma's gonna be jungle. That's about the only thing that I can say for certain.
Yeah, really, all four of those other heroes could go mid if they wanted to. Pretty much any of them except Ember Spirit could go in the off lane.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right. This is
Enigma could go off lane too.
yeah, that's very true. I don't know that
10
they'll do that
They won't
because
do
they
that.
have a fairly greedy lineup already. I think they need that farming space in the
5
jungle,
seconds remaining.
but it's still possible. You're right. That
I think Clinks is a little bit greedy here.
I think he's
Reserve
absolutely
time.
greedy here. And, all right, not going to be the Clockwork that I was talking about. It will be Mirana. Interesting.
So Empire has the heavy aggression lineup. Navi has the they're pretty heavy aggression post 6, and they have better late game. So it's up to Empire to bring the fight to Navi early, but I don't think that we'll see. I don't think that we'll have a problem with seeing them doing that. It's gonna be crazy.
It certainly will
Mag
be,
had
my
a
friend.
ridiculous Bat Rider the other day. Remember
Yes.
he had the 8-minute Blink Dagger solo off lane. Bad.
Yes, that was that crazy recovery Bat Rider where he got put down, and then all of a sudden he just found farm, and both of us were kind of scratching our heads like,
Well, there's your Blink Dagger.
how the hell did you make that kind of recovery? It was so quick as well. 8 minutes is fast if you have a good start.
Right.
That's like on point. If you have a bad start, 8 minutes is unheard of. So, yeah, you mentioned Bat Rider, a high skill cap hero that is particularly potent in the hands of someone that can handle the lasso, and he's definitely one such player.
So introducing the side of Navi, we have Puppy Drafter on the Enigma.
Prepare for
He is
battle.
poor. Oh, actually, he's doing this. He's doing this build where he doesn't always spend his gold too, and that's very rare to see a support. So he has 4 clarities, 1 tango, and 300 gold to his name. Other day when he played Shritty, he had 250 gold afterwards. So curious to see what he's gonna do with that. We see Havos on the Clinks, Dendi on the Ember Spirit, Kuroki on the Nyx Assassin, and last but not
Funnick.
least, we have Funnick on the Timber Saw. So I thought it was gonna be a Funnick Clinks, but
Yep. And Kuroki on the Nyx Assassins, I thought it was going to be Funnick on the Nyx at first, but yeah, there are a lot of offlane heroes here, so it was a little bit difficult to guess. On the Dire side, we've got Team Empire, and in the offlane, it will be Mag playing on the Bat Rider. We've got Vanscore on Rubik. Looks like he'll be
30
scurrying his way to the
seconds
top
to
lane.
battle.
Resolution for a little bit of solo mid Mirana. Oh, and I love that Mirana hairdo, one of my absolute favorites. Silent on the position 1 Doombringer. And Always Wanna Fly will be on the Ancient Apparition, slated for the top lane as well.
see a lot of heroes already checking runes at the start, vying for that early aggression. And yeah, just a solo bat right in the off lane. Doom position 1 is something that we've discussed before. It's not the strongest position 1 in the world, but he does farm extremely fast.
Yeah, and I think the power in Doom's position 1 abilities isn't in the fact that he's such a great position 1 carry as much as he just farms so much faster than most of the other carries. He can go Hand of Midas and also has Devour for kind of Hand of Midas 1.5 or so, whatever you want to call it. And if he can get like an item up on the other carries, that's where Doom just gets out of control, especially once he grabs that Alpha Wolf. He gets the crit, the damage aura. Oh, does it get dirty quickly.
Yeah, and him being in the Dire safe lane is much better than the Radiant safe lane.
Yeah, so, and it also depends what build he goes for as well. I'm not a big fan of the kind of Shadow Blade style hard carry Doom. I like it if he uses some of that farm priority to get some aura-based items. He might not be the best mech carrier here, but if he got an early mech up, certainly wouldn't be too bad. We talk about that item quite a bit, but I think it's particularly good in the hands of Doom because he is such a low starting armor hero.
Yep, and we'll see Potom matches up versus the Ember Spirit in mid. Ember Spirit, he's not like weak versus melee or range heroes, but they do definitely give him some issue. Enigma has already denied 1 creep early, so then they will have the upper edge for the first creep wave.
And let's take a look at these other lanes here. It will be Funnick in the solo off lane up against what will be a tri-lane of Empire as Rubik is rotating his way up top. I don't think they'll be able to kill Funnick too easily up here, but Rubik is a hero that does work pretty well against Timber, because how quickly you can cast that telekinesis, you can use it to interrupt the Timber chain when he's trying to make the escape. So Funnick will have his work cut out for him, but we'll see how he fares. They did go reactive armor level 1, which is always a little bit of a risk. We've seen Timbers fall at this early level without that escape mechanism, but it seems Funnick will hold his own, at least out of the gate.
I was looking at Havos. How did he not get any magic stick charges? Mag is literally at 0 mana right now, and for some reason, like, he was just spamming napalm in lane and there were no sticky.
Is there any chance he used some of the stick charges?
I don't think so. Anyway, I was watching. I was just like, huh, what's going on here? But Mag able to interrupt Kuroki's jungling just a little bit.
Yep, as a good bat off laner should do, and it seems that Mag is doing all right. He's at least halfway through level 2. He's been able to pick up a couple of creep kills, sitting 6-1. Actually, more than a couple, doing quite well, especially compared to that of Timber, who is only 2-0 right now, and following a similar practice here as he moves into the jungle and tries to interrupt the supports on the side of Empire and also absorb a little bit of extra experience. We should expect Na'Vi to have a little bit of an experience in Gold Edge early on. Compliments of this Enigma in the jungle makes those lanes just a little bit more efficient and opens up all of that gold lurking in the jungle at the early levels. Still very curious to see what Puppy does with all of this extra starting gold. He still only has 2 clarities and he's up to about 850 sitting in the bank.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. His health is definitely suffering a little bit, and if he gets caught up, I bet he could potentially die, but very unlikely for Bat to run in there. And now Puppy, he has the share taken over from Kuroki, just chilling. And yeah, in this mid lane, Resolution just can't shut down Dendi's farm. And he has 1 more CS than him right now, 9-2 compared to 8-4 from Dendi, but Ember is really weak early game. Well, he's not really weak, but that's his weakest of his stage, that I say.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he is another one of these very low starting armor heroes, or base armor, I guess is the proper term. So that's really where his weakness is in terms of physical damage. But he's one of those heroes, I've made this comparison before, he's kind of like the Storm Spirit in the sense that you really need to try and gank him before level 6.
Funnick gets initiated
and,
on
they pull him to the high ground, but he Timber Chains back down. Oh, he even gets the stun from AA as well. Close call, nice cheeky play there from Rubik, but unfortunately they can't secure the first blood.
Both position 1s farming relatively evenly, 21 CS on Doom, 16 CS on the Clinks, and yeah, both the off lanes, they're actually much different. Timbersaw 4-0, and Batrider is 15-2. Experience-wise, they seem right about even too, sitting around that 3 level 4 mark. Kuroki gets initiated on, not really. Harassed.
Getting harassed a bit by the Batrider, and actually Kuroki walking around in the fire a bit here as Mag continues to grab some more creep kills, doing that same rotation. He has gone for Tranquil Boots first on this Batrider, which is not that different, but won't be going for the ultra-fast blink as we've seen some bats go for. We'll be looking for a little bit more of the in-lane sustainability.
So Resolution gets the rune on top, bottom lane was scouted out. by Mag, and he has a DD. Marana still suffering a little bit in the way of CS. Ooh, Funnick.
Yeah, Marana's doing all right. 17-5 against the 14-6 Ember Spirit. Not too bad. I guess you could call that a victory for Dendi, as he doesn't have a Stout Shield or a Quelling Blade, so he's been able to do pretty well here. It seems Resolution has been more focused on last hitting than harassing Dendi out of lane, which isn't a bad way to go, but as we've seen, trading equal farm on Ember and Marana will pretty much always go in favor of the Ember.
Yep. Batrider, Blink Dagger status, 850 gold after picking up Trank, so not bad at all. He will hit level 6 at a reasonable pace. Funnick going with the 1-1 or 1-1-2 build on Timbersaw.
Interesting, and he gets initiated on Telekinesis back. Look at all that damage coming out. Funnick will get dropped, and that will be the first blood for Empire. Van Score on the Ruik to grab the bonus gold.
The one thing that AA does have going for him and why he is a good first pick is Chilling Touch just does obscene amounts of damage in a tri-lane. Like, obscene.
As you saw right there. I mean, that's basically what dropped him. They took him down in essentially the time of a telekinesis.
Yeah.
Pretty darn impressive. Even with 2 points in reactive armor to try and deal with some of that right click, but yeah, Chilling Touch is pretty dirty. And AA, he actually has 2 points in it. So, a little bit extra on the potency there.
The magical damage too goes through reactive armor, which is
that's a good
pretty nice. And Doom looks like he is going for maybe a greedy build. He has phase boost as well as Funnick.
Yep, Funnick again. Oh wow, he will take the cold feet as well, and they won't have enough to secure the kill. Doom is not inbound. Doom was there chopping that wood. That would have been close to a kill if Chilling Touch came out. I think they could have done it. Unfortunately, Doom just wasn't in the right position.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he was not. So I'm surprised to see Havos go Midas, but it is a 6-minute Midas, one of the fastest ones that you'll see in a free farming lane without kills.
Yeah, without a first blood or an early tower. That's about as quick as he actually has it in the inventory before the 6-minute mark too. So that's particularly impressive. Interesting, no value point in Strafe to get things started. I guess he's just comfortable farming in the lane, and you can grab a point later on, but he's getting close to that mark now where if Mag isn't careful or if he leaves the lane, they can start pressuring this tower very heavily.
You really do need that move speed with Skeleton Walk, but again, he didn't go for a killing build. It's not like he rushed Oblivion stuff, so I am also surprised that he didn't pick up a value point in Strafe.
And down in the bottom rune, it is a battle for it, but Resolution does grab the regeneration that spawns at the 6-minute mark here. Kuroki tries to contest, but unfortunately for him, unable to make it there in time. AA will now rotate towards the mid lane. Not sure what Always Wanna Fly is up to here, but Dendi continuing to pick up momentum. 23-7 versus the 30-10 Marana, so they're still pretty much trading blow for blow. At the very least, Marana's doing a good job keeping Dendi down. Mag could be in some trouble here. We'll take a Malefice from the Enigma, but we'll just Firefly down to the low ground and head back to lane. Mag very close to level 6, just about 100 experience away from grabbing that lasso, and I believe Doom has his ultimate online. Yes, well, kind of. He doesn't have enough mana for it, but he is now level 6, so Timber will have to be extra careful here in the top lane.
Yep, still farming for that Midas. About 450 gold to go, but he does have the phase boots. His net worth is still slightly above Klink's at this point, but once Havos uses his second Midas, probably going to change from there. Klink's already working on his Orchid, so looks like Navi is content to farm, and I don't really see why not. They do have the better late game with the Ember as well as the Klink's, and yeah, Empire just really needs to start ganking them soon. Still waiting for the blink from Batrider, 700 gold until then, but really we haven't seen anyone rotate from their lanes.
Yeah. This is a very passive game, I think, needless to say. Just about 8 minutes in with only 1 kill on the field. Both teams being very cautious. This feels almost more like a Game 5 Grand Finals match than just a, day 6 out of 30 round-robin kind of a matchup, where both teams are playing so passive, making sure they don't make any kind of silly mistakes early on, and just focusing on their farm, getting up their core items before they find initiations. But
Dendi and Resolution on top, vying for that rune.
Down bottom, Mag, he gets initiated on. His Puppy comes out of the jungle. 2 ports coming in. He'll burn a black hole onto Mag. Beautiful positioning on the hole from Puppy. He does force a cancel on one of the TPs. Now Always Wanna Fly. He gets left behind, and one more auto attack will finish him off. There's that one last searing arrow. Kuroki, he will drop to the tower. That makes it a 2-for-1. But Na'Vi finally showing some aggression. Beautiful black hole from Puppy.
Yeah, the supports TP'd in. They're like, oh crap, I don't want to get hold too.
That was just beautiful positioning. At first, it looked like just a solo black hole, but the way the ports were coming in, we saw Always Want to Fly did get caught in it for just about a second there. And I'm not sure who the other port was, but probably the right idea to cancel it.
Yeah, probably Rubik. And there is the Midas up. Looks like he's going for drums afterwards. Funnick trying to defend this tower. This tower's actually pretty low, though, sitting at 300 HP. Silent. Wow.
Yeah, Silent could be in some trouble here. TP coming in. It will be Nick's Assassin. He gets telekinesis straight away. Doom comes out. Funnick off the mark with the Chakra. Might have been able to secure a kill there if he had it, but will not hit. And Kuroki, pardon me, will waddle away. And I think he'll survive, though. This will be a close call. Yep, it will be enough. Just about 40 hit points to spare.
Yep, and Timbersaw's still out of mana. They don't want this tower to get denied, and it is sitting at 133 HP. So just 3 HP above deny range, and no siege creep there. But we do see
around.
Resolution with the DD.
Funnick gets telekinesis, the port coming in. And it is Havos. They want to pursue onto Vanscore. He's going to be in some trouble. Around the backside, Marana diving the tower. Wants to grab the kill on Funnick. Will find it, but Clinks does grab the kill on Vanscore while all that happens. So it ends up being a 1-for-1. Resolution will survive, leaps up to the high ground, and that's where this fight will end. Tower still out of deny range by just 3 hit points. Well played by both sides, I suppose.
Mag has his Blink Dagger.
Uh-oh, that is always a scary thing to hear. And it will be delivered via the courier here just as we speak.
Not sure what build Dendy's going for either. He has 1,400 gold and just chilling on it. Most of the time we'll see phase boots up by now.
Ooh, they drop Marana here as she tries to grab that invisibility rune. Well, she does grab the invisibility rune, but still falls. Great fire remnant from Dendy as well to secure that kill. So he will spend some of his money, and it will be an energy booster. So Arcane Boots coming out. A build that Dendy does really like on this hero. I think he gets Arcane Boots definitely more often than not.
There's smoke coming out from the 3 heroes on Empire. Doom has Doom up, but not really that much mana to do anything else, and not really that much HP in case it's a full-blown fight, but Havos looks like he is in trouble.
Yep, and they will come in. There's the lasso straight onto him. They put a sentry down as well. And yeah, that is one dead Bone Fletcher. Mag grabs his first kill with that shiny new Blink Dagger.
Yep. And Na'Vi needs to rotate someone top or also just lose that tower for free. And Havos still relatively far away from his Orchid, just one Oblivion Staff as well as a Sage's Mask completed. He was not able to buy before he died, so very timely kill there. Resolution gets harassed out in mid. Almost has his drums, and yeah, well, looks like we'll see dual drums. One already up on the Doom, at least if he picks it up from his stash.
And glancing at the gold graph here, I see Empire with a very small gold lead, but a huge experience edge for Na'Vi. Just about 3,000 gold in their favor, and a lot of that is coming from Puppey. The Enigma Pit can be a little bit of a double-edged sword because it makes your lanes a bit more rigid, and it gives you a greedier lineup, but Puppey has just gone completely unpunished. He now has 2,500 gold in the bank, so if he wants a mech or a Blink or even a BKB, he'll be able to grab any of the 3 very quickly here. 2 of those he already has the funds for, and it will be a Blink Dagger first. Not a build you see too commonly here, but he'll show it off in the bottom lane as he blinks forward on Always Want to Fly. Kuroki taking a lot of damage from the tower. He does get picked off by the Ancient Apparition. Puppey wants to be careful here. He will secure the kill. It's a 1-for-1, but now supports joining the fray, and they will make it a 2-for-1. A huge overcommitment from Na'Vi in the bottom lane, and it did cost them their top tower as the Dire did finish it off.
That's just very aggressive positioning from them there. Yeah, they had the Blink Dagger and they had that surprise factor on their edge, but I mean, they're diving in between a T1 and a T2 with a relatively under-leveled Nyx and an Enigma without a mech, too. So it was, yeah, overzealous.
It was rather bold.
Kuroki, Vendetta on bottom, looking for a kill on Resolution, but no one is there to back him up. Havos, Skeleton walks in.
Yeah, and Resolution, oh, he's low on mana as well. He'll have enough for a leap, but he is in big trouble. Havos just laying in the right clicks, and they will secure a kill. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Bat Rider did use that Blink Lasso combo once again, and they grabbed a kill on the Ember Spirit. So both mid heroes get taken out in different quadrants of the map, and pretty even exchange across the board. Empire still with that 1 kill edge following that aggressive dive we saw just a few moments ago.
Yeah, that was a pretty fast Vendetta Impale combo. A lot of the Nyxes that we see aren't able to pull it off, especially against a hero like Marana. But Kuroki executed well there. Yeah. It's not you can't take it for granted anymore when Nyx is his stuns.
Yeah, it's true. You know, Nyx has more of a Wind Ranger feel, where if the player can land the impales, he's a huge playmaker, sort of like with Windrunner. If you can land the shackles, you can have a huge impact, but if you can't connect with the shackles, it's just not a good pick. And now Nyx is kind of in a similar category, given his skill shot. And speak of the devil, he'll connect with one on Resolution as he ports back to lane. Dendi hops in as well. Flame Guard online. Resolution taking a lot of damage. Dendi wants to pursue, but now there's support inbound. They will telekinesis him, and he does Flame Remnant back. And here comes Puppey showing off that Blink Dagger with a big black hole. Will connect. Always want to fly is the first to fall. And now support coming in. Mag hops forward. They're looking for some recovery kills. Puppey actually taking a lot of damage. He will get taken out by a level death from Doom. Moonlight Shadow flies as well, just in case Empire need to make the escape here. Sentry down from the Dire side. Vanscore taking a lot of damage, but as is Clinks, he will fall. And Vanscore gets picked off as well as the Nyx Assassin. Empire coming out slightly ahead in this engage. It is a 3-4-2.
That flame break from downtown from Mag to interrupt that black hole. That was a pretty good play.
Yeah, certainly was. Wasn't enough to save the AA. And actually, did somebody buy back? I thought AA died. Did he just respawn very quickly?
AA did die.
Okay, he just respawned super fast.
Yes. So it was 2 supports for 2 supports and a Clinks. So and a black hole cooldown. So Empire played very well there. And Rubik also, he used a spell steal right before, so that was a go ahead for Enigma there. But everyone was just so prepared on Empire. Like it just looked like, oh, Resolution is probably gonna die here to a hasted Dendi, and then his whole team is there to back on. So very, very quick response to Empire, and they cannot lose out in the early mid game with this lineup, at least versus Navi's. They have the better early mid, and they have to capitalize on it. If someone's off farming when Navi barrels down as 5 and they lose a couple fights, that could very well spell the end of the game for them.
Yeah. And glancing at the graph, Empire do have a sizable gold lead now, upwards of about 3,000. Only one tower has been knocked down, and it is that top tier 1 that Empire took quite a while
Mag
ago.
looking for... Wow, that was close.
Yep. Enigma blinks back just in the nick of time as an AA ultimate flies down bottom as well. Scouting it out, seeing if anyone's hiding behind the tower. But alas, they shall find no one.
Yeah, I think he thought that Mag was going to be able to grab Enigma there. They did have this reserve reward who did check him out.
AA is in some trouble. This is going to be an AA sandwich here, Merlini. Clinks around the backside. He'll lay in the Searing Arrows. A beautiful impale from Kuroki. Connects with the Vanscore as he ports in. He is now in big trouble. Orchid is up on Clinks. They'll use it for the silence. And that's an easy double kill for Na'Vi. Empire getting sloppy all of a sudden. Both of their supports will concede untimely deaths.
Yep. And all the meanwhile, Na'Vi is putting pressure on mid. Curious to see what Puppey's going to go next. I think they need a mech to kind of try and stop the aggression from Empire, or at least come out even engages. Dendi,
You're
the double
doomed.
ultimates.
Yeah, Lasso as well. No way you're surviving that one. Maybe even a little bit of overkill as an AA ult flies in as well. And it may connect with Enigma here. Nope, Puppey will blink out just in the nick of time. So a bit of tower exchanging going about now. Na'Vi did grab the top tier 1 following those 2 kills on the supports, but it appears Empire will be able to knock down this tier 1 mid. Na'Vi, without a glyph available, will just let it fall. I do agree with you though, my friend. I think they need a mech. Doom I still think is an ideal candidate, but he will
Both
go
teams need a mech.
for an armor-based build. Plate mail, Shivas or AC coming out first. And oh, Silent. Speaking of the devil, he'll hang around a bit too long as Puppey blinks forward. Malefice, Funnick here doing a lot of damage with the Chakram, but another nice flame break to break up this engage a bit.
And the defensive force staff from Mag too. He like literally cast those in the same instant.
Yeah.
These flame breaks are really good from Mag. Mag actually goes for max flame break too. See a lot of Bat Riders max Firefly last. Looks like he max flame break first and Firefly.
And now a gem coming out for the Bat Rider. Mag will go ahead and pick that up. Get a little bit more map control going their way. And I thought I saw another item picked up, but no, Mirana just working towards the Yasha. The only other
Silent and always want to fly. Oh, Rez.
Resolution. He's in big trouble. Poor kitty.
Yeah, I mean, Resolution has just been dying a lot this game. It's mostly just the same way. 2 times in a row. It's just due to Nyx Assassin. And he was almost dead to the Ember Spirit in mid, too. So, bottom was their last pick of their solo mid. I think they could have done with a different one, a more resilient one. Maybe like Puck, I think, would have been better because you can just face shift immediately after the Nyx. And they haven't really used Moonlight Shadow either to gank.
Yeah, they've used it a little bit here and there, but they haven't really used it aggressively. It's mostly been these defensives. In that last big team fight, we saw Moonlight Shadow play a little bit of a role. But Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mirana has not been too active with that ultimate.
She just hasn't been that active in general. Out of the 11 kills, she's only been involved in 3. Desperately trying to farm her way up into the Yasha,
Oh,
but
no. Always want to fly. He'll walk right into the trap. Dendi and Kuroki were hiding in the jungle, and they'll find a free kill on AA. Nothing that he could have done. And meanwhile, Puppey and Funnick are smoked up. There is a haste rune, but they'll resist the urge to pick it up. In the mid lane, Havost will get converged on as they all hop forward.
they're all smoked. They still have Black Hole right now, though. Enigma is in a pretty good position.
Dendi to start things off. There is a sentry ward down here for Team Empire. Funnick in the front lines. Moonlight Shadow does come out now. Radiant Sentry comes down also. Silent in some trouble. Will take the bolas. They're doing a lot of damage. They'll take down the Doombringer. Black Hole still available. Dendi taking the AA ulti to the face. Will they continue to fight this? Another Flame Break comes out. Kuroki gets off the Spike Carapace, and that will be enough to keep him alive. Beautiful bolas once again. That sets up for Timbersaw to do a lot of damage with that Chakram. Timber Chain to finish off the Ancient Apparition. This fight going very well for Na'Vi. Puppey still looking for a Black Hole opening here. They'll hop forward. Timbersaw does get taken out, but they'll grab a kill on the Mirana as well. Looking to chase down Mag as he fireflies to the low
If they
ground.
lose this gem right now,
Oh, Mag's in big trouble. It looks like this gem may end up on the ground. Indeed it does. Dendi's the one to pick it up. Double kill coming out for the Ember Spirit. The only one left alive is Vanskor on the Rubik, and there's not much he's going to be able to do with 4 heroes still alive and a Black Hole also online.
Na'Vi was just doing a fantastic job of splitting up around the fight too. Like they never clumped up. They never give Batrider a good opportunity to lasso. He had lasso up for like the majority of the fight, and there was just no good target for him to do so. Most of the time they were just honed in on a target, focusing him down very, very fast, unable to interrupt it. He tried to use his Flame Break to the best of his ability, but alas, Na'Vi walks away with a lot of kills, but not yet the tower. But if they're up in kills 20 minutes in, I'm really scared for Empire going into the late game. And yeah, the gold graph is at 0 right now, but Na'Vi have by far better late game, and they have probably better gank too. Pretty much they only have to worry about the Batrider gank, but Empire, they have to worry about the Nyx, who's constantly been getting kills, so active on that Nyx Assassin 1, 3, and 10, and the Clinks with the Orchid too.
Yeah, the Clinks has had that Orchid out for quite a while, but it's definitely had a driving role. It looks like he'll be working towards a BKB next with that Ogre Club already in tow. And I definitely agree with you, though. Na'Vi are really picking up a lot of momentum here. They've got 3 sets of Arcane Boots across them as well. So a lot of mana sustain in these team fights. Timber getting semi-close to the Bloodstone. Still a little ways off, but he's got 1,800 in the bank, so it won't be too much longer. Just needs that perseverance. Always want to fly. He's going to be in some trouble. Clinks actually doesn't use the Orchid. I think that may have been a kill. No, maybe not. Would have been close, though.
It would have been. I think it would have been killed with 1 more hit.
Yeah.
And Orchid.
But he won't commit. Instead, just is satisfied creating some space for Puppey to knock down the Tier 1 tower mid. Total tower count is dead even now at 3 apiece. All 6 of the Tier 1 towers have been dropped.
Yep, and now it looks like they want to do Roshan. Again, no mech up on them, but they do have the gem right now, which is very, very disastrous. And now Empire, they're always scared of Na'Vi, of their Invis heroes, and at the same time, they can't really use Moonlight Shadow again. So I'm still not completely on board with the Mirana pick here. It wasn't that effective at shutting down Ember Spirit in game, and they just haven't been able to utilize it very effectively in the early mid. And she's not the best carry. She's not the carry of choice that you would want versus a Clinks or an Ember Spirit going into the late game. So it doesn't really fit any 3 of those roles.
Do you think it would have been better if they had opted for that Clockwork last pick, put him in the off lane, and then put Batrider in the mid instead, or would that have been a little bit more of the
They
same?
still need an off lane hero, though. That means that
Yeah, Clockwork.
Oh, yeah,
He
Clockwork
would have been in the
off.
off lane. Yeah.
It would have been all right, but at the same time, Clockwork doesn't scale that well with farm, so it's pretty much just be a solo Doom facing offers of Clinks in the Storm and Clinks and Ember Spirit in the late game. I think like a Storm Spirit would have been really good for them. Again, it wouldn't ban out, but something like that, someone who can gank as well as serve,
Scale a little better.
pretty decently with items,
Yeah.
right? Clockwork's a great pick though.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, and it seems to be a recurring theme these days where Mirana has been a very popular hero, and it almost feels like more often than not teams treating her almost as if she's a hard carry, giving her a lot of farm priority, but she just doesn't have that same impact unless she has a really aggressive mid game.
And she dies really easily.
Yeah, very squishy. So Puppy, after Blink, not going for a mech or BKB. He is instead going to go for a Hood of Defiance, and one can assume that it will be a pipe coming out before too long. An interesting build, but not bad.
Pipe's
all that
usually
magic
better
damage.
versus an AA, though.
Yeah.
And they don't really have any physical damage because Mirana has no items. So now Navi's just completely content to farm up because Empire has worse late game.
Yep, and Bloodstone is now up on Funnick. Blink is on the Nyx Assassin. And Dendi, he's close to a Desolator. Actually, after this Ancient stack, he should have just enough. Already has the 2 Mithril Hammers. So those are 3 very big core items that have now come out for Na'Vi. And I'm definitely starting to hop aboard the Fear for Empire bandwagon here. Doom getting close to his BKB now, but the item progression just isn't there for Empire.
Yeah, and Resolution still doesn't have his Mantis style. His net worth is still relatively close to Dendi's, but as we've seen a couple of times already in Starladder, Mirana with equal farm and Ember Spirit, there is no contest to who does more damage in team fights.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And there's that Desolator up on the Ember Spirit, so Dendi getting that much more potent here. He's still carrying that gem around. Yeah, that has probably been the biggest momentum shifter. Not only did Empire lose that fight in the mid, but losing the gem was so huge. They didn't even really get to use the gem for all that much. I think they might have knocked down 1 ward, if that. Basically a gift to Na'Vi, an offering, if you will. Mag will take an Orchid, but able to blink into the Roche Pit. And, well, that's it. No damage comes his way. Nice reaction from the Bat Rider. There will be a smoke from Empire, though. The remaining 4, aside from Bat, will be rotating around the dire jungle. Mag is in big trouble, though. He's on the defensive. He's already used that Force Staff. Does have the blink up once again. Moonlight Shadow comes out. They grab a kill on the Ember Spirit to get this fight started. And now, where's the rest of it going to go? Na'Vi all running in different directions. Puppy getting chased down by Resolution. He is rather speedy, and I think Puppy's going to be in some trouble here. Will Resolution be able to grab this solo kill? The rest of the fight is breaking out down bottom. Bat Rider did grab a kill onto the Timber. Havos now joining the fray. It won't be enough to keep Puppy alive, but he may be able to grab a counter kill. As Van Score now joining the battle, they will repel Havos. So that was a very odd engage, but Empire come out with a 4-for-0 exchange and get their gem back.
That was an odd engage indeed. Na'Vi, Kuroki blinked into the Roche Pit to try and get the Bat Rider. And that was just very unnecessarily risky, I think.
Yeah.
And his team was forced to all come over here. They killed the Ember Spirit like almost immediately. Everyone was just split up. And Mag was actually really smart about that. I think a lot of Bat Riders would just Fireflight it immediately and gone up here, but then Nyx would have just Carapace them, and then they would initiate it, and then they would have just killed the Bat Rider for free. But he waited as long as possible to use his Firefly. His team completely capitalized that as Kuroki was drawn out of position by Mag. So very well played by Bat Rider.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems with going this build on Ember Spirit, where you basically go drums into Desolator. You're very, very squishy. You do a lot of damage, but if you don't get the jump on the other team, and perhaps the opposite of that happens, like we just saw, Ember is such an easy target to take down.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then the momentum just completely shifts again. And I think Na'Vi just had to play it safe. They didn't have to go on the aggressive. And they do have the better late game. Yeah, Empire might try and go for a Roshan, but they can't take it down that fast. They won't take that much damage because of the Shivas, but at the same time, they can't actually kill it. So it should buy Na'Vi enough time to realize that they're doing it and then contest it from there. Maybe just drop a couple Timber Assault ultimates into there, drop a Sleight of Fist, but them just, yeah, having a poor initiation like that completely cost them right there. 4-0. For Empire. Now the gold lead right back down to 0. XP around the 0 mark too. And now Mirana finally has her Mantis style, so she won't die as easily.
Yeah. Boots of Travel up on the Timber as well to complement that Bloodstone. But yeah, the Manta is definitely huge. Finally, Resolution is starting to do a little bit more damage. And actually, Empire getting close to a mech as well. That'll be the first mech to come out in this game. And it will be in the inventory of Always Want to Fly on the Ancient Apparition. Still a little ways off the recipe, but at least has the buckler and the headdress. That should help at least a little bit.
Looks like Na'Vi making for another push on that bottom lane, but fighting into the Aegis is going to be a little bit of a risky proposition. No one is out farming right now, and yeah, I don't know if Na'Vi want to push right now. Again, the name of the game is just farm, and as boring as it may be, it's to win this game for Na'Vi. Just stack, get big on Ember, perhaps get a BKB, or at least I don't know. I think they just need more magic resist all around. Timbersaw probably could use a casual cloak. Blinks has his BKB up too. They could use a BKB on Enigma as well.
Yep. Doom is also getting quite scary, though. He's about 3,000 ahead of Clinks on the net worth chart, so I don't know if Na'Vi can comfortably sit back and just play this passive farm game. They still have the carry advantage, but Doom is at that mark where he's starting to get a leg up over all of the opposition here with that Devour and Handamitis kicking in. He now has a BKB and Shiva's up and another 3.5k in the bank. Rather curious to see where Silent is going to go next with his item choice.
It's just so difficult to push into Na'Vi, though, because they have the Chakram and the Sleight of Fist. If it's a stall outside of T3, Na'Vi should be able to win the fight pretty convincingly.
Mag blinks forward. He's going to show off that shiny new BKB. Blassos Dendi straight into an arrow. Dendi will be the first to fall, though. Ancient Apparition gets picked as well. Havos takes the Doom to the face. He will be the second to fall on the side of Na'Vi. Kuroki, not shortly after, he will go down. Now Puppey and Funnick, the only two left alive. They will retreat to their Tier 2 tower, but Empire with another very convincing fight. Arrow connects onto Funnick by Resolution, but where's the team support? Nobody is inbound, and Funnick will be able to make it away as Resolution takes some return damage. A great 1 for 3, only the AA falls.
Mag has just been playing like an absolute beast this game. 7-2-6 on the Batrider, and the thing about Empire, they're always finding Dendi early on in team fights. They will always Doom or lasso him, sometimes even both, if they can do it. And they just know how high up a priority Ember Spirit is, because if you leave him alone, he's going to do insane amounts of damage. That's a big A ultimate, as in like 700 radius.
Yeah. Only connects with Funnick, but Resolution now connects with an arrow. He leaps forward, feeling very bold. Another great flame break, though. Now Puppey gets the black hole off. Unfortunately, there's no follow-up damage. They'll just obliterate him as they grab the Tier 2
stolen by
tower.
Vanscore too.
Oh,
so
no.
Not only does he waste a black hole because no one's there to follow up, he gives it to Vanscore, and they still have the Aegis up and running. This may very well just be an easy T3.
Mag blinks forward. Maybe this one is a little bit overzealous. Pops the BKB, but he gets dropped. Those Tier 4s
They lose a gem
little
too.
too much damage.
Oh boy.
Oh, that was Mag. He's been playing so well, but that was a bit bold.
That was very bold. Now Vanscore's going to lose the black hole too if he dies right here.
And the Ghost Scepter trying to buy some time for the blink, and he'll find it. Big plays from Vanscore. That was a close call right there, but he manages to blink back, and he does save the black hole.
Yeah, I
Very
thought that
nicely
Mag
done.
could just sit back and let his team take out the T3, and then if they engage into them, then he can go for a lasso, or then they can go for a blink black hole. But
he just didn't have enough HP to take Tier 4 tower shots.
He
That
did
was the
not.
big problem.
Yeah.
The Tier 4s did a good third of his HP at least. And always want to fly. He'll try and pour it out. Can he make it? Yes, he can, but Vost was inbound, and another close call for Empire. So they'll minimize their losses. Still a huge team fight going their way. About 4,000 gold and just about 4,000 experience. In their advantage, Doom now almost 5k up on Clinks on that net worth chart.
I think that then he needs one survivability item right now, like probably a Lincoln's, but it's a little bit too late. And he does have his two main items right now, Drums and Desolator, but at the same time, he just drops like a fly in team fights Puppey.
Silent. Yep, he's got the BKB. He'll use it. Pops the Shivas as well, and Silent will be able to walk away. Support comes in. Vanscore with the black hole. He catches 4. Puppey the only one on the outside. Doom throws the ultimate onto Clinks. He's the first to fall. Dendi will get dropped as well. Vanscore taking heavy damage, but the mech keeps him alive. Kuroki gets picked off in the fray as well. Puppey now in big trouble. He gets finished off. It's a complete 5-0 exchange. Na'Vi GG out. Wow, what an ending.
What a huge black hole by Vanscore.
Wow.
That was...
Dire victory.
Wow. Yeah, it certainly did. Talk about an exciting way for this game to end. The stolen black hole. Well played by the Rubik. But Na'Vi, I really thought they were going to take this game. They picked up a lot of that mid-game momentum where we were getting nervous. And then they just took back-to-back team fights. And I don't think it was really Dendi's fault, but the Ember
It was
Spirit,
3 team fights in a row.
where he just got destroyed before he got maybe one Sleight of Fist off and then just got dropped.
Yeah, it all started with the Roshan, though. Them playing aggressively into that Roshan. They lost a team fight at Roshan. They lost a Roshan. And after that, they're fighting uphill into an Aegis. So, yeah, I'm not really sure why Puppey did that solo black hole. He had absolutely no follow-up. There were no teammates around him. And they were just about to revive, too. So they could have made a hold at the T3, which is just much safer. But instead, he uses it. Vanscore gets a black hole. He escapes narrowly and then just turns around and bites them in the ass in the next team fight.
Back-to-back clutch plays coming out. That Ghost Scepter into Blink to keep the black hole alive. That was, I mean, so close. They were right there ready to do damage. The Blink came up just in the nick of time. One of those super close
I mean,
plays.
I think they could have probably still held on too. Like, I think the GG was a little bit too early, but I mean that was a lot of momentum shifting in Empire's favor though. After 3-1 team fights in a row.
Yeah, it would have been difficult, but I have to agree with you. I think Na'Vi still had a chance. You talked about Empire having a lineup that doesn't really push that well, and Na'Vi having a lineup that's particularly difficult to push into. And Puppy would have had his black hole coming up reasonably soon. It wasn't up for that last team fight, but if they wanted to make a hold, maybe still possible.
Yeah, I think they just had to play more patiently, but at the same time, Mag and Silent were just having really good ganks with the Lassos and the Dooms, just completely dismantling Na'Vi, always dooming the Clinks, I think, in the latter team fights, and lassoing Ember Spirit. Poor Ember Spirit just dropped so fast.
Yeah, and at the end, it seemed that Na'Vi just really underestimated how farmed Doom was. It was a 5 versus 1. They all converged on him. He popped his BKB and walked away. He bought himself enough time for that team support, and that was the catalyst to start off that unfortunate team fight for Na'Vi. I don't know. I mean, you know Doom has a BKB. You know how tanky he is. Seemed a little overzealous to think they could just drop Doom before support would be inbound at that stage in the game.
Yeah, even going back to the draft, though, the Enigma, without banning the Rubik, immediately snapped up the Rubik after. Like, they could have easily banned it out instead of Venomancer, and it would have been much more difficult for... I mean, that was just... The last team fight was clearly all about the black hole. 4 heroes by Vanscore. So very well played by Empire. They seem to have Na'Vi's number, though.
Yeah,
what was that mix of 5-0?
5-0 up against Na'Vi now. So interesting. Well played by Empire. Congrats are deserved. So that is our game 1 for the day. Coming up next, we'll have the retry versus Power Rangers. We'll have a short break, and then we'll be back. Guys, thank you for joining us for this tittillating game 1. Hopefully you'll stick around. We've got plenty more Dota coming your way.